Hi, Walter.
Hello.
Okay, it's you and me.
Okay, yes, sir.
Mem Zion, 47. Minayla Misasek Bekochim Shu Puzzle. Let's say you're just playing around, you shoichet kochim, but you didn't have kavana. Shenemar, it's not good. V'shochat es ben abakar lifnei Hashem. Ad shetei shchita l'shem ben bokar. It's not like you're cutting and practicing cutting. It's got to be the shchita for a cow. You have to know what you're doing. Amar lezubi adenu hi. But what about la'aked minayin? How do you know though? Fine, mitzvah and a mufcher to do it that way. But how do I know if I don't do it, it ruins the korban? Amar le lirtzonchem tizbachu ledatchem zvichu. You have to know what you're doing when you shecht an animal. Then we said that the Beis Din makes tanoim that even if the person has a machshava, it sort of makes it foolproof. She'ena machshava hoylechas ela achara oived. If the one who's bringing the korban has a bad machshava, but the Kohen who's doing the avoda didn't, we say the machshava of the one who brought the korban does not ruin it. So the Gemara says, but Masnisin, our Mishnah that said that is the Loki Haitana, is not like the following Tana, the Tanya. That even the owner of the korban that comes and gives the korban to the Kohen does the shchita. And while the Kohen does the shchita, the owner of the Bailim says, we're going to do the Zrika tomorrow. It makes pigul. Amar Rabbi my time, the Rabbi Lazar Rabbi Yosi. The Amar Kra, v'hikriv hamakriv korbanol Hashem. So even the owner of the korban is called the hamakriv. Amar Rabbi Lazar Rabbi Yosi, Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, kulu sfirlu. They all hold all of these. Tanoim hold the same concept that zeh mechashe v'zeh oived havi machshava. That the Kohen who does the shchita and the owner who has nothing to do with the avoda but has a bad machshava can ruin the korban. So Rabbi Yezer, Rabbi Yosi Hadamar, you just told me the shita Rabbi Elazar. Rabbi Yezer Disnan hashoichet legoy. Somebody does a shchita on behalf of a goy, shchitosuk sheira, and a Yisrael would be able to eat from that korban. However, Rabbi Yezer points so. Because Stam Goy's Machshav is Lavodazor, and he's going to apostle the Shechita. Johnny, we're about 10 lines from the top. On Mem Zayin. Rav Shimon Elazar, Klalom Rav Shimon Elazar, Kol She'en Kosher Latzniya. Something that normally is not important enough that a person is going to hide. Ve'en Matznin Kamo. Let's say it's such a small thing that nobody's going to keep such a thing. And therefore, if you carried something like that on Shabbos, you would not be over for carrying. However, Huchshir Lezeh, if for a particular person it's important, the Yitzniyo, and that particular person hid it, Uba Acher V'Yitziyo, and a third party came and carried it, Nischayev, B'machshava Shel Zeh. One guy does the Maisa, and the other guy, by having a machshava to make it a davar choshuv, will create the lav. Now, Tarvayu, both Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Shimon Elazar, even though they're talking about two different things, one is talking about a shchita on behalf of a goy, and one is talking about hotzah, they will hold Islahud Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Yosi. They will agree with Rabbi Eliezer regarding machshava by kochim that one guy having a bad machshava can affect the korban, because hashta b'chutz amrinan, if in yonei chulin, like watching something in order to make it choshuv. So bifnim a boy. So there's where in Beis Hamikdash, where we know that machshava is something very important. Would we have any shaila that a machshava of the other person would ruin it? However, Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yosi less lose the tarvayu. Rabbi Eliezer, who said his din by kochim, might not say the same din by Shabbos and by the other case that we mentioned. Shochet that Hitzniu Meshus Lushus. Why? Because Dilma Bifnimu da Amara. Maybe only Machshava works in the base of Mikdash, but B'chutz Lo Amina. Rabbi Shimon Lozer Islay the Rabbi Lozer. Why? Hashali in Shabbos Amina, if we say it for something Machmir on Shabbos, that the Machshava of one person is Noigeya to the actions of another, B'avodah Zarah boy, so certainly by Avodah Zarah would apply as well. But Rabbi Yezer Leslie, Rabbi Shimon Ben Elazar, because maybe Dilma B'avodah Zarah who davened. Maybe we're Machmir Avodah Zarah, because it's similar kibifnim. Just like Avodah Zarah, there's a voidoit that's going on, so it's similar to things that go on in the base of Mikdash where Machshava plays a role. But Aval Shabbos is Melechus Machshavos Asrat Torah. It's a higher degree. You need a Melechus Machshavos to be Machayiv, and maybe this is not a Melechus Machshavos. Harlach Beishamai, Harlach Beishamai, Harlach Beishamai. Okay. Mem Zayin, famous Mishnah that we read every day in Shachris. Ezel Makom Shel Zevachim. We're going to go to the nitty gritty. How do we do korbanos? Where do we do it? So, as zevach, we're going to refer to as a chatas, an asham, an oila, and the shalmei tzibur. That's kodshe kodshim. Kodshe kodshim, which is chatas, asham, oila, and shalmei tzibur. You have to shech them shchitosan betzafon. In the north, if you divide the Beis HaMikdash right down the middle, right in the middle of the door, through the Kodesh Kadoshim, east to west. So right down the middle, you have the north and you have the south. The Mizbech is in the south, and the rest is north. So you must shecht it b'tzafon. Par v'sor shel Yom Kippurim. The par and the so'ir, the par that the Kohen Gadol brings, the so'ir that is brought on behalf of Klal Yisrael, also shchitosan b'tzafon. This is the highest level of kodshe kodshim. So certainly shchitas in the north. Kibul daman b'kli shares b'tzafon. You have to do kabbalah sadam in the north. Damon ton azal ben abadim. You have to go into the kodesh kadoshim between the kapoir, the kruvim. It's between the badim of the aron, and then you have to do it outside the kodesh kadoshim towards the paroiches, vala paroiches. In the Kodesh Kodeshim, it's achas v'shtayim until achas v'sheva. Same thing on the paroches. Val mizbech hazav, you have to apply again achas v'shtayim above, and then you have to place on the four kronos. In those matonos, matana achas me'en me'akeves. You have 21, and if you do par v'sart, you have 42. Any of those are missing, it ruins it. Any blood that's remaining, Shore Dam, let me just see here, Achas Lamala by the Bein Abadim, same you do it in the Paroiches. The remaining blood you have to pour on the western yesod of the Mizbech HaChitzon. Now, the lo noson lo ikev. This Tana learns that shvichas shirayim on the yesod is not ma'akev. So if you miss that out, it doesn't ruin the korban. Then you have korbanos called parim anisrafim usiram anisrafim. This is the part where the Kohen Gadol makes a psak in error. That's called par Kohen Mashiach. Or the par helam dover shel tzibur. We learned if Sanhedrin makes a psak, and 51% of the Klal Yisrael does the Aveira based on a mistaken psak. Or the so'ir that the tzibur brings because the Sanhedrin made a mistake regarding an Avodah Zarah law. Those parim and seirim shchitosan b'tzafon. The kibul daman b'kli sharetz b'tzafon. You have to shech them in the north. You have to receive their blood in the north. Damon ton azal parochs v'azbech hazah. Those were not done in the Kodesh Kodeshim, only once a year on Yom Kippur. So these were done, the sprinkling only on the paroiches and on the Mizbech. Mantana achas man ma'akeves. And then if you miss any of the matanos of those, it's also ma'akev. Any remaining blood, shari adama yoshefach yisod maravi shel mizbech achitza. Also, it has to be poured on the western yisod of the outside mizbech. But if that one wasn't given, there's no elu ve'elu nisrafin habes. Then you have to take the carcass to the Beis Hadeshen, which is outside of Yerushalayim. They would burn the whole thing. That's the same place where they would dump the ashes of the mizbeach. Freit the Gemara v'nisni nami v'kibul damim b'kli shoris b'tzafon. How come we started off by saying kodshe kodshim shchitasim b'tzafon? Why didn't we say also there kibul damim b'kli shoris b'tzafon? We just talked about shchita. And then we immediately went to the Parvis Sawyer. So kivin to Ika Asham Etzora, there's one type of Asham, Kibul Damo Biyadhu. Some of the dam is received in your hand. So Sharia, they left it out. Because it doesn't fit to say that all of them Kibul Daman B'tzofo in a Klisharts. So the Gemara says, Velo. What do we not mention that an Ashram Mitzora is Mekabel B'Kli V'Aktani Lola Kamon? Later on, it says Ashram Nazir V'Ashram Mitzora Shchitosim B'Tzofim V'Kibul Daman B'Kli Sharis B'Tzofim. It says B'Ferish. So what are you giving me this reason? Oh, sometimes you didn't receive it in a Kli. Later Mishnah, it's going to say B'Ferish that you do B'Kli Sharis. Me'i Korah, here in our Mishnah, when you started off, Sovra Kibul Damo Biyad Vishiru. Since our Havamina was, since some of it is done by hand, they left it out. But really, you have to receive at least some of it in the Kli as well. Hadar Tanya was mentioned later on in the later Mishnah, the Tanya. It says in the Baraisa, V'lokacha kohen midam hasham. The kohen takes from the blood of the Yasham. Yachol b'kli tamud loymar v'nosan kohen al tnuch ozen amitaher. That the kohen had to place some of the blood on the ear. And ma nesina ba'atzmo shel kohen, just like the gifting is with the body of the kohen with his finger, af lekicha is ba'atzmo shel kohen. The receiving of the blood has to be physically by the kohen. Yachol af lemizbech kain. Fine. So some of the blood that you apply on the big toe or on the ear of the mitzorah, so you have to receive directly. But what about the blood that has to be put on the mizbeach? Ma chatas to una kli. For a chatas, you need a kli for Kabbalah. Af asham to'an kli. Nimtzasata oimer asham mitzorah shnei kohanim ekalim mizdamo. Two kohanim were involved in receiving the blood of an asham mitzorah. Echad biyad ve'echad b'kli. Zeh shekiblu b'kli balo etzel mizbeach. The one who received b'kli went to the mizbeach and sprinkled the blood there on the mizbeach. Zeh shekiblu biyad balo etzel mitzorah. The one who received it in his hand would go where the mitzorah was and put on the earlobe of the and on his big toes of the mitzorah. Okay. We'll continue tomorrow at 4 o'clock. And then Shabbos, 8 o'clock at night. See you tomorrow, everybody. We don't hear you, Walter.
Shkoyach.
Go
Don't
ahead.
forget Kiddush on Shabbos. You're in Shabbos, right? You're in Shul?
Happy
Huh?
birthday. I will be in Shabbos.
Okay.
Looking forward to it.
Okay. Take care, guys.
4 o'clock tomorrow?